divinely ordains that the blood in my veins is more than a trifle impure. They conspired with each other, condemning poor mother to a heartbreaking life she could hardly endure. With no conscience or care, they disposed of an heir to their glorious family tree. Do I lie down and die, or determined to try to alter the course of my destiny? Otherwise, what will become of me? Am I foolish to think I could ever be? Will I never be more than I am today? I can see me as a man of respect who could never detect had once been so heartlessly cast away. Am I foolish to dream I'll be Earl one day, a towering man among men? Then who could deny? Now and then pigs can fly. Who would look foolish then? Who would look foolish then? I am standing here with poison in my pocket, standing on this frozen little dock. It seems that I've just let them skate my opportunity away. If I had the poise to put the poison in a pot of tea or else a shot of gin, I would be back amid the noise of London by the end of day. But I am standing here with poison in my pocket, one eye on the target, one eye on the clock. It better happen soon before I lose the nerve and run. If I had a knife, I could have grabbed him, then discreetly knocked him on the head and stabbed him, not to mention what I would have done if I had had a gun. Sibella, something miraculous has happened.
What?
It's too fantastic. I've just learned that I am in the line of succession to become Earl of Highhurst.
Earl of Highhurst?
Yes, it seems Mother was a dicesmith, which means I am a dicesmith too.
My mother was Queen of Sheba. I believe that makes me Princess of Babylon.
You shouldn't make fun. It's true. And there are only 8 other people before me in succession, which means I could be Earl someday.
Oh, and pigs might fly. As if you could have been a dicesmith all your life and not known
I
it.
realize how it sounds.
As if you could be an Earl. 8 people would have to die for that to happen. How likely is that? Oh, now don't go yet, your lordship.
Where are you off to in your pink dress?
To meet a friend with a motor car.
Does this friend have a name?
Lionel Holland? You're jealous of him, I can tell. Because he has a motor car and he's rich and good looking. Is it really true about you being a dicesmith?
Of course, yes. I'll show you the papers if you like.
No, if you say it's true, of course I'll believe you. Darling, we barely spoke at the funeral. Are you quite all right? I should be inconsolable if I'd lost my mother.
Sibella, I think it's time you took me seriously.
Oh, Monty, the man I marry will have wealth and position.
I will have wealth and position.
And what will we live on until then?
Sibella, has it ever occurred to you to marry for love?
Now you're being cruel.
This is rather a coincidence, Mrs. Holland.
Don't Mrs. Holland me. Just when were you planning on telling me this happy news?
I should think you would want to keep your voice down.
You're always telling me to keep quiet, aren't you?
I would have sent you and Mr. Holland an announcement in due course.
An announcement? I would not be treated like a...
Yes,
You are despicable.
perhaps it is a very good thing we did not marry, Sibella.
You didn't used to think so?
You can't really imagine you have cause to complain at my marrying Miss Dicesmith.
You don't have to. Monty, you could call it off. You must.
There was a time when you and I might have fulfilled our natural destiny and married each other.
That could have been a very pleasant arrangement. We should have been so comfortably off, shouldn't we?
Well, I've no doubt we could have scraped along.
I can't imagine either of us, Auntie, scraping along. We should have hated each other in a week.
We should have never done that, Sibella. We know each other perfectly, better than anyone else could. We should have always loved each other. That is, if you loved me as I love you.
I do love you, Monty. And if I had not been so sure that you loved me, I should not have risked marrying Lionel.
I won't even try to make sense of that convoluted statement.
Monty, please.
Pentonville Prison, 19th of October, 1909. This is the memoir, and perhaps final confession, of Lord Navarro, 9th Earl of Highhurst. It is a fact of life that no one ever really tells the truth about himself. But in the event of my execution, while I still have time, I have decided to leave behind a purely factual record of events. I suppose one could call it a gentleman's guide to murder. Or should I say love and murder? My story begins, as most stories often do, with a quite unexpected visitor.
If there's a Sawyer Street in all of Clapham, I'm sure I've never seen it.
Pardon me, do we know one another?
Only since the moment you were given birth by your sweet mother.
You know Mother? I've only just returned from her funeral.
My poor dear Isabel, bless her soul. Look at him, all grown up and handsome as the devil.
How was it you knew Mother, Miss
Shingle, Marietta Shingle.
Of course, Miss Shingle. Oh, she spoke of you often. How she looked forward to your letters.
And I hers, I assure you. You were going to offer me a spot of tea, were you?
You must forgive my manners, Miss Shingle. Mother always had a kettle on.
As if you could spare a biscuit or two, I'm sure I wouldn't mind. I knew you and your mother were having a rough time of it, but I didn't know it'd come to this. Have you any prospects, love?
Mother always dreamt I should go to Oxford or Cambridge somehow. It seems rather unlikely now.
There's nothing your mother wouldn't have done for you.
I hardly know how I'll get on without her.
You rather favour your father. Physically, I mean.
Did you know my father? He died when I was but 7.
Only met him once, love. Castilian, you know, a dashing face and figure as you will ever see. Tell me, love, what did you know of your mother's family?
My mother never spoke of them. Must have been curs or mountebanks, horse thieves at the very least.
Well, not exactly. Have you heard of the Dicewith family?
Dicewiths? Why, yes, of course, hasn't everyone?
Then you've heard of Highhurst Castle?
Of course.
Then you're aware of their position, their vast wealth and influence?
Yes, what's this got to do with me?
You're a Dicewith.
What?
Go bid them let us in.
Maud! Bridget! Marion! Cecil! Gillian! Jane! Moan! Mild horse! Cap'n! Coxcomb! Idiot! Patch! Either get thee from the door or sit down at the hatch. Dost thou conjure for wenches that thou callest for such store? When one is too many, go get thee from the door. What patch is made our porter? My lady stays here in the street. Let her walk from whence she came, lest she catch cold on feet.
Who talks within there? Ho, open the door.
Right, madam, I'll tell you when, you tell me wherefore.
Wherefore, my dinner. I have not dined today.
Nor today here you must not. Come again when you may.
What art thou keepest me out of the house I owe?
The porter for today, sir, and my name is Dromio. Oh, villain! Thou hast stolen both mine office and mine name. The one ne'er got me credit, the other mickle blame. If thou hadst been Dromio today in my place, thou would have changed thy face for a name or thy name for an ass. Oh, madam, knock the door hard.
Hello?
I'll let her knock till the day can be silent.
You'll cry for this minion if I beat the door down. There's something in the wind. We cannot get in.
You would say so, madam, if your garments were thin. Your cake there is warm within. You stand here in the cold. It would make you mad as a buck to be bought and sold.
Go fetch me something, I'll break open the gate.
Break any breaking here, and I'll break your knave's plate. And break a word with you, sir, but words are but wind. Aye, and break it in your face, so we break it not behind. It seems thou wantest breaking out upon thee hind. Here's too much out upon thee, I pray thee, let me in. Aye, when fowls have no feathers and fish have no fin.
Well, I'll break it. Go borrow me a crow.
A crow without a feather, madam, mean you so? For a fish without a fin, there's fowl without a feather. If a crow help us in, sirrah, we'll pluck a crow together.
Go get thee gone. Fetch me an iron crow.
Return so soon? Rather approach too late. The captain burns, the pig falls from the spit, the clock hath struck 12 upon the bell, my mistress made it one on my cheek. She is hot because the food is cold because you come not home, you come not home because you have no stomach, having broken your fast. But we that know what 'tis to fast and pray are pendant for your default today. Aye, and Tifla looks strange and frown. Some of the men have thy sweet aspects. I'm not Adriano, nor thy husband. The time was once when thou unurched wouldst vow, that never words were music to thine ear, that never object pleasing in thine eye, that never touch well welcome to thy hand, that never meat sweet savoured in thy taste, unless I spake, or looked, or touched, or carved to thee. How comes it, my dear wife, oh how comes it, that thou art thus estranged from thyself? Thyself, I call it being estranged to me, that undividable, incorporate, and better than thy dear self's better part. Neither my good wife nor her man returned, that in such haste I sent to seek his lady. Sure, Luciana, it is 2 o'clock.
Perhaps some merchant hath invited her, and from the mart she's somewhere gone to dinner. Good brother, let's dine and never fret. Women are masters of their liberty. Time is their master, and when they see time, they'll go or come. If so, be patient, brother.
But why should her liberty then mine be more?
Because her business still lies out o' door.
Look, when I ask her more, she takes it ill.
Oh, no, she is the bridle of your will.
There's none but asses will be bridled so.
Why headstrong liberty is lashed with woe. There's nothing situate under heaven's eye, but hath his bond in earth, in sea, in sky. Of more premise than fish and fowls are masters of their husbands and their lords. Then let your will attend on their accords.
This extreme view makes you to keep unwed.
Not this, but trouble in the marriage bed.
But were you wedded, you would bear some sway.
Ere I learn love, I'll learn to have my say.
How if your husband starts some other where?
Till he come home again, I would forbear.
Patience unmoved, but if thou live to see like right bereft, this foul-begged power in thee will be left.
Well, I will marry one day, but to try. Here comes your man! Now is your good wife nigh.
Pentonville Prison, 19th of October, 1909. This is the memoir and perhaps final confession of Lord Navarre, 9th Earl of Highurst. It is a fact of life that no one ever really tells the truth about himself. But in the event of my execution, while I still have time, I have decided to leave behind a purely factual record of events. I suppose one could call it a gentleman's guide to murder. Or should I say love and murder? My story begins, as most stories often do, with a quite unexpected visitor.
If there's a Sawyer Street in all of Clapton, I'm sure I've never seen it.
Pardon me, do we know one another?
Only since